All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. This week we're talking about changing your reality and really creating that life that you were meant to live. The one you know, the one that you don't feel like you're living right now, but you know you can, that you want to live, your best life. Well, Think and Grow Rich is definitely the ultimate guide to helping you to take control of your life and really craft a plan to do that. And so we've been talking about that because there's a proven roadmap inside Think and Grow Rich. It's 17 chapters or sections that really talk to you. They lead you and they guide you into creating this amazing plan in order to get results and execute on a plan that's going to take you where you need to be. So yesterday we talked about the first 3 chapters, which was desire, faith, and autosuggestion or affirmations. And I gave you some details on those. So if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to those first, because today we're going to talk about the next 3 sections, which are specialized knowledge, imagination, and organized planning. Specialized knowledge, imagination, and organized planning. Now I want you to do me a favor. I want you to, whatever you're doing right now, I want you to just take a few notes or think about this from the standpoint of how important it is in creating a life of fulfillment, as well as getting the results that you want in whatever area it is. It might be your business, relationships, communication, it might be your personal, your fitness, whatever it is in your life, because this is the detail. This is some of the detail that's going to be real critical for you. As you've looked at, and we talked about yesterday, this idea of finding a burning desire and choosing faith, and then creating these auto-suggestions to kind of help program your subconscious mind to guide you where you want to be. Now we're going to talk today. The next section is specialized knowledge. You know this already, but to be successful in anything, you're going to need specialized knowledge. You're going to need a knowledge that goes deep into an area that you're working on. It amazes me how many people work in areas that they're competent in, that they might even be excellent at, but maybe not passionate about, but they haven't really drilled deep into this specialized knowledge. And I'm going to take a little break here to just kind of remind you that I believe the best thing you could do is work in the area or that quadrant of your unique talent, which is something you're excellent at and passionate about. And it's interesting how you can become passionate about stuff you learn more about. But knowledge, we've always been told throughout our life, is power. And that's not true. Knowledge is not power. Only knowledge that is organized, and as Napoleon Hill puts it, knowledge that's organized into a definite plan and directed to a specific path. Right? So you've got to have knowledge that's directed to a plan of action and with a goal or a path to attribute it to. And so I want you to really truly identify what it is, what specialized knowledge or skill or talent or technique or strategy you need to go deep into that's going to help you to accomplish your goals. What it is you desire, the thing you're trying to accomplish in your life. Figure out what you need and go get that knowledge. And it's not good enough nowadays to think you know the knowledge. You've got to stay relevant. You've got to stay up to date. And don't become one of those individuals that just is constantly learning. You've got to be learning in the area you need, and you've got to be concise, and you've got to make specific time for it. So realize that you can set aside time every day to find out more or learn more about what you need. Take whatever courses that are offered on your subject or find the best resources for that topic that are concise. And then associate with people. This is another way to get that knowledge. Associate with people who you know that are excellent or excel or have gotten results in those areas. But, one thing you might not have thought about is make sure that when it comes to specialized knowledge, you get help from your mastermind group, which we'll talk about more tomorrow, but get help from people that are pursuing a common path, that are experts, that are good at what they do, but are in that same vein that you're working in. I love this quote by Frank Lloyd Wright that says, "The human race built most notably when limitations were greatest, and therefore when most was required of our imagination in order to build at it." Our limitations are going to be blocked that we have for accomplishing our goal. And so you've got to get innovative. You've got to be imaginative. You've got to be willing to learn. And lifelong learning is a key, right? One of our prosperity pillars. But the key here is to remember that knowledge is not power, only the application and the action of the knowledge is the key. So what are you doing right now And what do you need to do to extend your specialized knowledge in that area? That's really important. The next section is on imagination. And I love this because one of my favorite quotes from Napoleon Hill is, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve." And I love that because I do believe your imagination is one of your most powerful gifts and resources. You can create anything you desire or imagine, because at the end of the day, everything in life, everything in this world was first created in the mind. And the only limitation that you're going to have in life, think about this for a minute. The only limitation you're going to have in life is the limitations you put on your own mind and imagination. Drilling in this concept, I want you to understand that building your imagination and your visualization is so important. It's so powerful because it's the starting point of everything you're going to create. We should constantly use our imaginations to think of ways to do things better. Look at what change, look, everything in life is inevitably going to change. Think about and find ways to use your imagination to adopt and adapt to those changes and bend them in the direction that you desire. In our current difficult times, it's interesting to note that Napoleon Hill emphasizes that we should treat limitations as our best friend, because that's what's going to require our imagination to rise above them. Ryan Holiday talks about the obstacle is the way, but the only way through this obstacle is outside your comfort zone and using your imagination. So this is a section that I think is very important to you to prioritize this idea of visualization and imagination, because visualization is that critical process where you use your imagination. It's like a muscle. You've got to use your imagination in order to truly perfect it. So that's the next section. And then the last one I want to kind of mention and talk to you about today is organized planning. You have your desire and you've applied faith and you've got your affirmations that are helping to program your mind. You're digging deep into your specialized knowledge and you're applying your imagination, which is kind of that fuel and creative fuel you're going to use. But now it comes down to the plan. This section of organized planning is all about having a definite plan of action, because someone without a plan is like a ship without a course, no place to go, and most certainly headed for disaster. You can't get enough of what you don't want, so make sure you're going after what you do want. Every person that has ever been great in life has risen above their circumstances and obstacles, have had some kind of plan to achieve their goals. And when you devise your plan, get the assistance of other people in your mastermind group, which we'll talk about more tomorrow, like I said. Get help, because when you're creating your plan, you might not have all the answers, but take advantage of other people's knowledge and skills and experience that have been through what you're doing. We talk a lot when it comes to investing on these situational specific trading strategies. And it's just a great example of, if you're creating a plan, why not take a plan on a specific strategy in a specific market with specific talents that'll create a specific result? And rather than trying to figure it all out, get help. Now, Napoleon Hill in this section of organized planning, he lists, I thought was pretty interesting, he lists 11 characteristics of great leaders or leadership that are key elements of implementing a good plan. Because remember, whether you have a business or you're a solopreneur or you're in life or with kids or whatever it is, leadership is going to be the key element in helping you to execute on your plan. So I wanted to just take a minute. I thought it was important that he put it in there. We take a minute to just list out these key leadership elements. And I want to do this just really to get your thought process around, what are you doing? Which of these are you doing? Which ones could you do better at? These 11 characteristics of leaders and leadership that will help you to execute your plan specifically. And the first one is unwavering courage. It's going to take courage for you to implement your plan. The second one is self-control. I can't tell you how difficult this one is for me, self-control, because you know what you want, but you've got to have self-control. The third is a keen sense of justice. I think that idea of justice, integrity, ethics, it's such an important role when it comes to implementing your plan. You can't just bulldoze over, and you've got to have that fair mindset, right? The fourth leadership trait is definiteness of direction. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with that don't have a clear direction of where they're going, and that's a very weak leader. The fifth characteristics of leadership is definiteness of plans. It's important to have definiteness of decisions and direction, but of your plans. Once you make a plan, know what it is in detail. And then sixth, a habit of doing more than you are paid for. I love that. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you just try to get through the day, that's what you're going to get in return. Habits of doing more than you're paid for will provide rewards and dividends, I promise you. The 7th leadership trait is pleasing personality. You've got to have that. Like, enough said, right? Pleasing personality. The 8th one is, and this is a tough one, but this is one you don't normally prioritize, sympathy and understanding. It's like Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Sympathy and understanding. And number 9, mastery of detail. Now, a lot of visionary leaders don't have mastery of detail, but I think if you're executing on a plan, mastery of detail is critical. The 10th leadership trait is willingness to assume full responsibility. A leader has to take responsibility, and you are the leader of your life, your business, your relationships. Be willing to assume full responsibility. The 11th and final leadership characteristic that I believe will help you, and Napoleon Hill talks about will help you to implement your plan, is cooperation. Cooperation, meaning working well with others, finding ways to adjust and adapt, finding ways to work together. Cooperation. So here's the deal. I think these chapters done a really good job of the strategy and tactics, more of the digging deep into what you need to do. So I want to kind of just give you a quick review. Desire is where you're going to create that vivid picture of what you want and create something you want, that burning desire, and then apply that decision of faith. Before the belief is there, apply your faith, create auto-suggestion, affirmations to guide you there, dig deep into your specialized knowledge, apply your imagination, and create an organized plan. I think you can see how this is absolutely a roadmap for accomplishing your best life and changing your reality. And tomorrow, man, tomorrow is going to be fire because I really love the next 3 sections. It's on decision, persistence, and the power of the mastermind. Can't wait to get into that. I'm looking forward to talking with you tomorrow. Do me a favor, share this show. If you've gotten any value at all, share it. Tag me in your share. If you do it on social media, on Facebook or Instagram, tag at the Daily Mastermind. I'd love to see what you're doing and be able to contribute to your success. Once again, my name is George Wright III. This has been the Daily Mastermind. Have an amazing day. I'll talk with you tomorrow.